The vast emptiness of space held many secrets, but none quite as intriguing as the small blue planet that had caught the attention of the Sixteri exploration fleet. Chief Researcher Kittel stood at the observation deck, their crystalline form shimmering under the soft lights of the ship. The being's transparent body refracted light in complex patterns as they studied the preliminary data about Earth. "Fascinating," Kittel murmured, their thoughts rippling through the ship's telepathic network. "These humans have barely mastered basic space travel, yet their neural patterns are more complex than anything we've encountered." The research vessel hung in high orbit, cloaked from Earth's primitive detection systems. For 3 standard cycles, Kittel and their team had been gathering data about the planet's dominant species. The humans, as they called themselves, were puzzling creatures. They were soft-bodied, like many carbon-based life forms, but showed remarkable resilience to environmental changes. Chief Researcher called out Navigator Minra, their crystalline form glowing with excitement. "You need to see this data about their social interactions." Kull glided across the deck, their crystalline legs making soft chiming sounds against the floor. The display showed humans engaging in various activities, but what caught Kittel's attention was their constant physical contact with each other. "They touch, constantly," Minray observed. "Greeting rituals, social bonding, emotional support, all involving direct physical contact." Kittel's form pulsed with curiosity. For the Sixteri, physical touch was purely functional, used only for essential tasks like maintaining their crystal structures. The idea of touching for social reasons seemed primitive, inefficient compared to their advanced telepathic communication. "Look at their medical data," another researcher, Zpod, chimed in. "Their nervous systems respond to physical contact in ways that defy our understanding. They release chemical compounds in their bodies just from touching." The scientific team spent several more Earth days analyzing this behavior. They watched humans shake hands in business meetings, hug their loved ones, pat each other on the back, and engage in countless other touch-based interactions. To the logical minds of the Sixteri, it seemed like an unnecessary evolutionary holdover. The Council must be informed, Kittel decided. These humans are unique enough to warrant first contact protocols. The message was sent through their quantum communication network, and the response came swiftly. The Galactic Council, intrigued by the reports, authorized first contact with Earth's leaders. As the diplomatic team prepared for their mission, Kittel reviewed the contact protocols. The Sixteri had encountered thousands of species across the galaxy, and their first contact procedures were well established. Yet something about these humans made Kittel feel uncertain. "We'll approach them as we do any primitive species," Kittel instructed their team. "Their technology is centuries behind ours. Their reliance on physical touch shows their evolutionary stage. We'll demonstrate our superiority through our telepathic abilities and advanced technology." The research team nodded in agreement, their crystalline forms synchronizing in a harmonic pattern. None of them questioned their assumptions about human capabilities. Why should they? The Sixteri had successfully contacted hundreds of emerging civilizations before. As the diplomatic vessel prepared to reveal itself to Earth's authorities, Kittel made one final entry in the mission log. "Humans appear to be a simple species with interesting neural complexity. Their habit of physical contact suggests a primitive stage of development. First contact should be straightforward, following standard protocols for pre-spacefaring civilizations." Looking back later, many would say this was the moment where everything started to go wrong. The Sixteri's greatest mistake wasn't in underestimating human technology. It was in misunderstanding the true power and complexity of human touch. The United Nations Assembly Hall buzzed with nervous energy as world leaders gathered for humanity's first official contact with alien life. Security teams checked and rechecked their equipment, while diplomats adjusted their ties and straightened their suits. At the center of it all stood Admiral Sarah Chen, her military uniform crisp and perfect, chosen as Earth's primary representative due to her calm demeanor and diplomatic experience. "They're here," someone whispered as the air shimmed near the main entrance. The Zixteri delegation appeared in a display of light that made cameras flash and sensors buzz. Their crystalline bodies caught the room's lights, creating rainbow patterns on the walls. Chief Researcher Catal led the group, their transparent form towering nearly 8 feet tall. "Greetings, people of Earth." Catal's thoughts projected into everyone's minds, making several people gasp. "We come in peace and with great scientific interest." Admiral Chen stepped forward, her voice steady. "On behalf of humanity, we welcome you to Earth." She kept her hands clasped behind her back, remembering the briefing about maintaining professional distance from the alien visitors. Hull moved closer, studying the human with obvious fascination. The other Zixteri spread out around the room, their crystalline forms making soft chiming sounds as they moved. Security teams tensed but held their positions. "Your species is most intriguing," Catal projected. "We have many questions about your development and capabilities." The alien scientist drifted closer to Admiral Chen, towering over her. "For instance, your reliance on physical contact for communication seems inefficient compared to telepathic methods." Admiral Chen maintained her diplomatic smile. "Different species develop different ways of connecting and communicating. Touch is deeply important in human culture." Catal's form pulsed with what might have been excitement. Yes, this is exactly what we wish to understand better." Without warning, the alien extended a crystalline appendage toward Chen's shoulder. "A simple examination will help us." The moment Catal's crystalline finger touched Admiral Chen's shoulder, everything changed. The alien's transparent body suddenly lit up like a Christmas tree, vibrating at a frequency that made nearby windows rattle. "Impossible." Catal's mental voice boomed through everyone's minds. The aliens staggered backward, their crystalline form crackling with energy. The feedback. Too much, too many. Feelings, memories, pain, joy, fear, love. The other Zixteri rushed to help their leader, but the damage was done. Tal's touch had connected them not just to Admiral Chen's physical form, but to something far more powerful, the full force of human consciousness, backed by millions of years of evolution and emotional complexity. "Medical team, now," Admiral Chen called out, maintaining her composure even as chaos erupted around her. The Zixteri delegation was in disarray, their forms flickering and vibrating. "How?" Catal managed to project, their mental voice weak and scattered. "How do you contain such power in your simple forms?" Admiral Chen's expression remained calm, but her eyes held a hint of steel. "Perhaps next time, you'll ask permission before touching a human. We may not have fancy telepathy, but we have other ways of protecting ourselves." As medical teams rushed in and diplomats scrambled to maintain order, one thing became crystal clear to every alien in the room. Humans were far more than their simple appearance suggested. Their touch, something the Zixteri had dismissed as primitive, was actually one of the most sophisticated defense mechanisms in the galaxy. And they had learned about it the hard way. Chaos spread through the Zixteri ship faster than a solar flare. Through their shared telepathic network, every crystal being on board felt the aftershocks of Catal's disastrous contact with Admiral Chen. Their usually quiet medical bay now rang with the sound of cracking crystal and mental screams. "Shut down the network." Medical Officer Rintal ordered, their own form flickering with stress. "We must contain the spread." But it was too late. The human touch had created something like a computer virus in their telepathic system. Emotions they had never experienced before crashed through their minds like tidal waves. Love, hate, fear, joy, anger, all the complex feelings humans handled every day were now overwhelming the Zixteri's ordered minds. In one corner, a young crystal being named Zura had curled into a ball, their surface covered in small cracks. "Make it stop," they whimpered mentally. The feelings, they're too strong. Images flashed through their mind. A child's first steps, a mother's warm hug, a soldier's last breath, a lover's kiss. all drawn from humanity's collective emotional experience. The ship's captain, Vertel, watched in horror as their crew suffered. How do humans live like this? They wondered. How do they function with such powerful emotions constantly running through them? Down in the research lab, some of the younger scientists were having a different reaction. Instead of breaking under the strain, they were adapting. Their crystal forms had started to pulse in new patterns, matching the rhythms of human emotional waves. "It's beautiful," whispered Linta, one of the junior researchers. Their crystal body had taken on a slight pink tinge, something never seen before in their species. Humans don't just feel emotions, they transform them into strength. Back on Earth, Admiral Chen and her team watched the alien ship's erratic movements with concern. Reports came in from around the world about strange resonances affecting electronic equipment. The Sixteri's distress was literally sending shockwaves through Earth's atmosphere. "Should we prepare defensive measures?" a nervous general asked. Admiral Chen shook her head. "No, we didn't attack them. We showed them who we are. All of who we are. They just weren't ready for it." Inside the Sixteri ship, something unexpected began to happen. As the initial shock wore off, the surviving crew members started to understand. Each burst of human emotion carried not just feeling, but meaning. Each memory showed not just events, but purpose. These humans, Catal managed to project weakly from their medical pod, they don't just survive with these emotions. They grow stronger because of them. The medical staff worked tirelessly to stabilize their patients. They discovered that younger crystals were more flexible, better able to handle the emotional overflow. The older ones needed time to adapt, their rigid structures slowly learning to bend rather than break. As the crisis entered its 6th hour, Captain Vertel made a ship-wide announcement. "We came to study a seemingly primitive species. Instead, we found beings with power we never imagined. Our touch-based scans were meant to prove our superiority. Instead, they proved our ignorance." In the quiet moments that followed, as the crew slowly recovered, a new understanding emerged. The Sixteri had always prided themselves on their advanced telepathic abilities, but humans had something far more powerful: the ability to feel deeply, love fiercely, and still function. Their touch wasn't just a physical connection. It was a gateway to an emotional universe the Sixteri had never known existed. 3 days after the touch incident, the United Nations hosted a very different kind of meeting. Gone was the tension of first contact, replaced by something more complex. In a specially prepared conference room, Admiral Chen sat across from Kittel, whose crystalline form still showed faint cracks from their experience. "We were wrong about so many things," Kittel projected softly, their mental voice much gentler than before. "We thought touch was primitive. We thought emotions were a weakness. We never understood until now." Around the room, human scientists and diplomats sat with their Sixteri counterparts. The aliens now kept a careful distance from any humans, their recent experience making them extremely cautious about physical contact. "Tell us," Admiral Chen said, "what exactly did you experience when you touched me?" Kittel's form shimmered as they searched for the right words. Imagine diving into an ocean, expecting a shallow pool, and finding an endless abyss of light and darkness. Every human emotion carries the weight of your entire species' evolution. Your touch doesn't just transmit feelings. It carries survival instincts refined over millions of years. Dr. Sarah Martinez, Earth's leading xenobiologist, leaned forward with interest. "We've always known that human touch was important for our development, but we never realized it could affect other species this way. Your species survived countless disasters," Kittel continued. "Each survival experience, each moment of fear, triumph, or love, became coded into your very cells. When I touched Admiral Chen, I didn't just connect with one human. I connected with the collective emotional memory of your entire species." The younger Sixteri scientist, Linta, who had started showing pink crystalline patterns, joined the conversation. We've discovered that humans unconsciously process more emotional information in one day than our species handles in a month. Your ability to feel deeply while still functioning is remarkable. Around the table, human delegates exchanged proud smiles. Their supposed weakness had turned out to be one of their greatest strengths. "But how do you handle it?" asked another Zixteri. "How do you live with such intensity of feeling?" Admiral Chen smiled. "We don't just handle it. We need it. Human babies can die without physical touch. We grow stronger through emotional connections. What you see is overwhelming. We experience as necessary and natural." The meeting continued for hours as both species shared their perspectives. The Zixteri learned about human concepts like consent and personal space, finally understanding why their unannounced touch had triggered such a powerful response. The humans, in turn, gained insight into how their emotions appeared to a telepathic species. Kittel, despite their traumatic experience, had become fascinated rather than fearful. "Your touch is like a library, a weapon, and a healing tool all in one. We thought we were studying a primitive defense mechanism, but we were actually encountering one of the most sophisticated systems in the galaxy." As the meeting drew to a close, Admiral Chen offered a surprising proposal. "We could help your people understand us better, but in a controlled way. Small touches, with preparation and consent. We could learn from each other." The Zixteri delegates vibrated with nervous excitement at the idea. They had come seeking to study humans as simple subjects, but now found themselves humble students of a species they had gravely underestimated. "Yes," Catal agreed, their form glowing with renewed purpose. "But this time, we'll do it right. This time, we'll respect the power that lies within human touch." 6 months after the touch incident, the Galactic Council chamber was packed with representatives from 100 different species. They had all come to hear about the new classification for Earth and its inhabitants. Catal, their crystalline form now bearing proud scars from their experience, stood before the assembly. "Distinguished members of the Council," Catal projected, their mental voice reaching every corner of the vast chamber, "I stand before you to propose something unprecedented. Earth must be classified as a Category X planet." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. No planet had ever received such a classification before. Some delegates shifted nervously in their seats, while others leaned forward with interest. "The humans," Catal continued, "appear physically weak compared to many species here. They have no natural armor like the Kreks, no telepathy like us, no advanced technology like the Vorn. But they possess something far more powerful. Their touch carries the force of their entire evolutionary history." Holograms appeared around the chamber, showing humans in various situations: a mother comforting her child, soldiers supporting wounded comrades, friends celebrating, lovers embracing. Each image was accompanied by data readings that made several scientific delegates gasp. Admiral Chen, invited as Earth's representative, stood calmly at one side of the chamber. She had become something of a legend among galactic species, the human whose touch had almost shattered a Zixteri research team. "When we first discovered humans," Catal projected, "we thought their reliance on physical contact was primitive. We were wrong. Their touch is not just communication. It's a weapon, a healing tool, and a library of experiences all in one. One casual touch can overwhelm an unprepared telepathic species with the full force of human emotions and survival instincts." The young Zixteri scientist Linta, their crystal form still showing traces of pink, stepped forward to share their research. "We've discovered that humans process more emotional data in one day than most species handle in a month. Their ability to function under such constant emotional intensity is remarkable. More importantly, they can transmit this emotional energy through simple physical contact." The council chamber buzzed with discussion. Some delegates looked skeptical, others worried. A few seemed deeply interested. "Therefore," Catal announced, "we propose the following. Earth will be classified as Category X. All species must undergo special training before making physical contact with humans. Unauthorized touching of humans will be considered a serious violation of galactic law. Admiral Chen stepped forward when invited to speak. "We welcome peaceful contact with all species," she said simply. "But we ask that you respect our boundaries. Human touch is sacred to us. It can heal or harm, comfort or destroy. We offer friendship to the galaxy, but on terms that respect our nature." The Council voted overwhelmingly to approve the new classification. As the chamber emptied, a young Rith delegate approached Kull with a question. "Why are we so afraid of touching such physically weak beings?" Kull's form sparkled as they replied, "We're not afraid of their physical weakness. We respect their emotional strength. Humans carry within them the raw power of 1 billion years of survival, love, fear, joy, and triumph. Their touch can reshape minds and break barriers we thought unbreakable." The Mrith considered this. "So this is not about fear." "No," Kittel projected firmly. "This is about respect. Humans have taught us that true strength comes in many forms. Sometimes, the softest touch carries the greatest power." As Admiral Chen prepared to return to Earth, she smiled at the new warning beacons being installed in Earth's solar system. They displayed a simple message in all galactic languages. Warning: Category X planet. Unauthorized physical contact with humans strictly prohibited. They are not as fragile as they appear.